Hello, we are going to talk about solids, liquids, and gases, and we're going to play this video, and then you're going to answer the questions based on this video, so be sure you are paying attention.
It's freezing out here, RJ. I can see my breath.
It has been pretty cold. Look, even the puddles are freezing over.
Yeah, and I love the states of matter.
The where?
The states of matter. Solids, liquids, and gases. When things melt, when things freeze, like the puddle.
That's pretty cool.
What would you say if I could tell you exactly how cool that puddle needs to be to turn from liquid to solid ice?
I'd say game on, Zoe.
Okay, so matter is anything that takes up space as a solid, liquid, or gas. The state of that matter, solid, liquid, or gas, depends on how fast the molecules move. Just think of them as tiny players on a team. Our team is water today.
Now you're speaking my language.
All right, let's get rocking. We'll start with gas.
Okay. Gas.
Gas is the state of matter when the molecules move the fastest, like super crazy all over the place fast.
What makes them move so fast?
The heat. The hotter molecules get, the faster and more wild, crazy, and spread out their movements are. When they move like this, we see the warmer as a gas. Gas moves anywhere and everywhere it can.
Got it, Coach.
If you cool those molecules down, they'll move a bit slower. Take enough heat away, and those molecules will move close enough together to become a liquid, the second state of matter.
Exactly how close do they have to get to turn into a liquid?
Well, they still got some room to move. That's why a liquid can change its shape.
So when the molecules get cold enough and close enough together, they turn from a gas to a liquid.
Yeah, and when gas turns to liquid, it's called condensation.
Gas to liquid, condensation. Gotcha.
Let's drop the temp even more. When the temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that means freeze. This is called the freezing point.
Not much room to move when you're frozen together.
Right? When water freezes, it becomes a solid, the third state of matter. Solids are hard and don't change shape because their molecules have stopped moving around.
Sounds sort of uncomfortable.
Well, just add some heat and it's easy to change a solid back to a liquid.
Then let's get this solid fired up.
When the temperature rises above 32 degrees Fahrenheit,
The ice melts into a liquid again.
right, this is called the melting point. If we crank the heat up even more, we'll reach boiling point and send those molecules into a frenzy.
And from a liquid to gas.
Yeah, and that's called evaporation.
Liquid to gas. Evaporation. There they go, moving as far as they can. All right, let me run through this for you. Tell me if I got it right. There are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Adding heat or taking it away can change matter from one state to another. When matter changes its state, it's really the movement of the molecules speeding up or slowing down. How'd I do?
RJ, I'm impressed.
I think you just gave me an idea for a play to use in tomorrow's game. All the players run in all sorts of crazy directions as fast as they can, totally confusing the other team.
Oh yeah? You got a name for that play?
Don't you know? The evaporizer.
All right, now that we've listened to the video, we're going to get started by answering these questions. How are molecules related to states of matter? List the three states of matter and how molecules move in each state. Compare and contrast evaporation and condensation. You're in a spooky haunted house and you turn the corner and enter a room full of rolling fog. You feel a chill run up your spine. But wait a minute, it's not really fog, it's dry ice. That's not something to be afraid of. Water is pretty predictable. It freezes into a solid, which is ice. Ice can melt to liquid, water. Water can evaporate, becoming water vapor. Water vapor can condense to liquid. And dry ice is a little different. It doesn't melt like regular ice cubes would at room temperature. At room temperature, dry ice goes from a solid straight to a gas. This is called sublimation. What is dry ice? Dry ice is made of carbon dioxide. We normally think of carbon dioxide as a gas. We breathe it out. Plants use it to make oxygen. But in dry ice, carbon dioxide is a solid. It's frozen at about negative 109 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 78 degrees Celsius. Making dry ice isn't just pouring water into a tray and putting it in the freezer. You have to cool it and pressurize it. Then it becomes a liquid. After it's a liquid, it is then depressurized and goes back to a gas. It gets cold very fast and becomes snow-like. This snowy substance is compressed into chunky blocks. Jot down notes and drawings that would help you remember the meanings of each of these words. You can use the sketch or the scribble button on your toolbox. Freezes, evaporate, and condense. Tell me what each one of these are. Where and how do we use dry ice? Well, you've probably seen it in spooky settings like haunted houses or horror movies. It can be used in shipping if you need to transport something that needs to stay cold. You can use it in food storage. It can have medical uses. It isn't always safe though. You have to be careful with dry ice. If you touch it with your skin, you can get frostbite instantly. You can also damage your lungs if you breathe in the carbon dioxide in high amounts. Make sure you stay safe if you're exposed to dry ice by not touching it directly and not exposing yourself for too long. So right here, you're going to tell me what sublimation and carbon dioxide is. How is dry ice different from regular ice? A, the freezing point to make dry ice is higher. Dry ice sublimates and skips the liquid phase change. C, dry ice is super cold water and regular ice cools at a slower temperature. Regular ice can keep food cooler longer. Why is it always important to wear safety goggles and gloves around dry ice? A, dry ice has a warmer temperature and can burn you. B, dry ice is super cold and can cause frostbite. C, dry ice can instantly change into liquid, which is harmful to humans. D, dry ice is explosive when left out too long. Number 3, what is sublimation? Change from a solid to liquid gas. B, change from a solid to liquid. C, change from solid to gas. Or D, change from gas to solid. Record your answers right here. Explore it. You already know the 3 main states of matter: solid, liquid, and gases. You may not know that the thermal energy, which is the heat, plays a major role in changing matter from one state or phase to another. Think about a block of ice sitting on the kitchen counter. What happens to the ice over time? Why do you think this happens? Describe the phase change of the ice if it were to be left sitting out. What word is associated with this phenomenon? Okay, so over time, ice does what? It happens. Why? If ice sits out, why does it happen? And this is called what? Explore it part 2. You already know the 3 main states of matter: solid, liquids, and gases. You may not know that thermal energy, which is heat, plays a major role in changing matter from one state to another. Think about the water that has recently been frozen in the ice tray in the freezer. What happens to the water over time? Why does it happen? Describe the phase change of the water over time. And what word is associated with this phenomenon? Put your answers here in order. The motion and spacing of atoms determine the state of matter. Describe how water molecules acted in the block of ice. Describe how the water molecules act in the ice tray in the freezer. Make some observations of the pot of boiling water on the stove to your right. Do you think any phase changes are happening? Describe and tell me what it is. Describe the atoms as heat is applied to the liquid. When a liquid changes to a gas, it is called vaporization. There are two kinds of vaporization. Evaporation usually occurs on the surface and can happen below boiling temperature and pressure. Boiling happens throughout the liquid once the liquid has reached a certain temperature and pressure. Which kind of vaporization was demonstrated in the last slide with the pot of water? The picture to the right is dry ice. Record what you observe. What phase change happened when you drop the dry ice into the water? Describe the atoms as they heat rapidly. Does the dry ice turn into liquid? When a solid changes into a gas, it is called sublimation. Adding the dry ice to warm water speeds up the process of sublimation. What could happen if the dry ice if you left it on the counter for a couple of hours? Put your answers in right here. Explore it part 6. To the right is a picture of a glass jar filled with boiling hot water from a dish of ice cubes on top. Make an observation of the gas within the container. What phase change happened to the gas inside the container after adding the ice? Describe the atoms during this process. What do you notice of the walls of the container? When a gas changes to liquid, it is called condensation. Adding the ice on top of the very warm air caused the gas to condense and turn into liquid. Where else have you seen this phenomenon? Put your answers here to your left. Now you're going to take and you're going to draw an arrow or a line and match the vocabulary words to their definition. You have condensation, boiling, melting, sublimation, freezing, and evaporation. Right here, you're going to draw an image. You can do it on paper, or you can choose to do it on your doodle pad that you have for your iPad. You're going to draw an image that represents the atoms that look like a solid, liquid, or a gas. Be sure to label each part of the diagram. This is instructions for in case you're not sure how to insert pictures onto slides. Read it through it and follow those steps. Assess it part 1. What happens to molecules when thermal energy is added? A, all solids turn into a liquid, then to a gas. The molecules slow down and move closer together. The molecules get excited and move farther apart. All gases turn into liquid. A student being dropped off at summer school notices her glasses fog up as she gets out of the air-conditioned car. What is this process called? Evaporation, sublimation, vaporization, or condensation? A nearby pond has what appears to be a steam coming off of it after a cold front passes through. What is this? Evaporation, sublimation, vaporization, or condensation? Put your answers to the left. It is clear when we look at water that it comes in different forms: solid, liquid, and gas. When water moves from a liquid to a gas, it has blank. When water blank, it moves from liquid to solid. Water can also blank from a gas to a liquid. However, there are materials that go directly from a solid to a gas, like blank. This is also called blank. Now, you're going to figure out where these words go. You have freezes, evaporate, condense, sublimation, carbon dioxide, and you'll put them in the proper order right here. And that is all for today.